Hey guys, it's Mike here with Narxoleptic Customs. In front of me is Stanley. So tonight we're going to start the process for the LS swap that I've been planning for a really long time. This truck has been around forever. My grandfather bought it in '67. I learned to drive on it in the mid-90s, drove it for 2 years once I was able to drive. And since then, it's been in and out of service a couple times. So I've been limping the 283 and 700 R4 along for at least 2 years. So it's time. It's getting a 5.3 and 4L80 in the first setup. The 5.3 and 4L80 will stay, and then we'll add a turbo and a big converter and cam and all that kind of stuff. But right now, the goal is to get it running, get it driving, get air conditioning hooked up so I can start driving it every day again. I drove it every day for about 3 weeks last year, and then the gas tank it was really bad and I was limping it along, and I'm ready to drive it all the time. So the goal for tonight is to basically disconnect everything under the engine, like the water temp sensor, the alternator wiring, things like that. I am having a get together over the weekend to pull it out, so that'll be episode 2. Will be all my buddies coming over and us actually yanking the engine. So tonight, unhook the wiring, get the alternator out of the way. Probably go ahead. The swap mounts I've got, we'll use the clamshell. We'll bolt right to the clamshell engine mount. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those off with the engine. I want to go ahead and get the fuel pump pulled off tonight. So it'll be an easy night, quick night. It is kind of late, and I've been out here for a couple hours getting ready for everybody to come over anyways. So let's get started. So basically it's easy pulling an alternator. You just undo the bolts. So the plan is to make this engine look like it came from the factory. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the alternator because it's easy and up front. And the goal is to kind of sell a few pieces from the engine, like the alternator, and not going to work there. To sell a few pieces from the alternator or from the engine, so I can buy a few more parts. But things like the alternator will go, the intake and carb will actually go, because I have a factory 283 intake and 2-barrel that came from my great uncle Noel from one of his builds back in the day. So I'm going to actually put this engine on a stand because of the sentimental value to it, obviously. So I'm going to throw it on a stand. I'm going to throw it over in the corner, and I'll have one of the shops make a small write-up about it, about my grandfather owning the truck and putting the motor in and all that kind of stuff. So if you're in need of a good alternator or Edelbrock intake and carb, and you're watching this sometime in the recent time of mid-November 2017, it may just be available. I found it's easier to pull all the brackets and everything off for when you go to sell something. That way, people may need it all. And if they don't, it's out of your way anyways. Which is really what I need. Try and keep everything together. This bolt wants to come out. There it is. Maybe it didn't. It's really kind of sad to be pulling this engine out. This motor's been in here a long time. It's funny, I built in high school I had a V8 S10 Blazer that had a turbo 350 and 3,000 RPM stall. And after I left high school, I basically tore that Blazer apart and put the trans with the stall in this truck, which with the underpowered 283 made for some interesting driving. It was really funny. It would slip till about 2,800, but the old truck would break up real bad at about 3,500. So on the highway, I had to keep it about 2,900 RPMs all the time, or it just wouldn't even run hardly. It wouldn't pull itself up a hill. It'd barely downshift. So it got pretty interesting there towards the end. Kind of the last straw was not being able to take it to one of our shows we do at the children's shelter here in town. And not be able to drive it. I took it, but not be able to drive it because it wouldn't make it. So that was kind of the last straw. And I've had this 5.3. My brother and I pulled it out Father's Day of, well, my brother Stephen and Dakota and Garrett pulled it out Father's Day 2016. So I've had it for a little while. So we pulled it out. I bought a 5.3 about 3 months later. Or I bought a 4L80 about 3 months later. So I've had all this stuff for a good long time. It's just now time to put it in here and get back to enjoying the truck. You know, with my grandfather driving it for so long, I feel bad because I didn't keep it going like I should have. You know. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and get the fuel pump pulled, I think. And then that way it gets out of the way so I can undo the mounts. I could probably just pull the engine with the fuel pump on it, but I really don't want to. Oh, come on. There you go. That's a good pump too. Now I'll just get me a little block off plate for this. That way no contaminants get in the engine. Not that it would matter, but keep it as healthy as we can. Because what's funny is it would take a little bit to get it going, but it'd finally fire up and take off. The one good thing about these trucks is at least they're all standard. So try and get in here and see. Okay, that's not 11/16. Let's try a 5/8. Find one. Yeah, perfect. Even better. The one thing about this is I don't know if these have ever been taken off. I felt like it turned really easy. That could be a little scary. I guess it's a good thing this motor never made much power. Because it wasn't in there very well. See what this side's like. Yeah, this side gonna be a little fighter. Maybe not much of one. Problem is this side, there's not much room here between the radiator line and the fuel line here. Bend that out of the way some. Well, there we go. I can get that with my fingers yet. Yep. Perfect. So that's undone, or those are undone. Make sure there's not any other, nope. Just the one, perfect. Well, guess it's time to call it a night. So I guess I'm going to call it a night tonight on this. I'm off work tomorrow, so I'll mess with it a little more then. We've also got to put the body mounts in another project so I can get it rolling. But I'll keep doing the videos. Like I said, this will be episode 1 of the LS swap. So subscribe to the channel to keep up. And you can watch us on Facebook at Narxoleptic Customs. And you can watch us on Instagram at Narxoleptic. Thanks.